is the physical phenomenon or physical world that we see. This is the inherent character of the universe, a creative view, which we can see a lot of things, a lot of views, a lot of natural resources, like trees, bodies of water, solar energy, sky, that serve as light and brightness. Is there a microorganism? Where can we find it? In what places do they usually can be found? In our environment, we have biotic and abiotic factor. Let us focus on the biotic factor, where we have living organisms or living things. Under this, we have the microorganism. For ordinary people, let us know what is microorganism for them and the information that they know about microorganisms and what are the three major groups that composed of microorganisms.
Pindutin mo naman after.
Microorganisms are tiny, of course, they're tiny organisms that can be seen only under the influence of a microscope. There are three divisions or branches of microorganisms. One is the protist, the other is the bacteria, and the last is the fungi.
Microorganisms help in the ecological balance of the ecosystem. Some of them are considered as
Microorganisms are important because they undergo important activities in the ecosystem like photosynthesis. They are decomposition. That's body and that's microorganisms or microscopic organisms which may be eukaryotic or prokaryotic. Microorganisms may be called microbes.
Okay, what is microorganisms? Microorganisms are extremely small living things that can be seen under microscope. Some microorganisms are necessary for decomposition. One example of microorganism is bacteria.
Microorganisms cannot be seen by the naked eye. There are microorganisms that have bad effects and good effects. And the bad effects are they have bacteria and
What are microorganisms?
A microorganism is a microscopic organism which may be single-celled or multicellular. Microorganisms are very diverse and include all the bacteria and archaea and almost all the protozoa. They include fungi, algae, and anything else.
What are their importances?
Some forms of bacteria that live in animals' stomachs help in their digestion. Some of them are used in brewing, wine making, baking, pickling, and other food making processes. They also decompose dead bodies such as those dead animals.
What are microorganisms?
Microorganisms are very small living things that can only be seen by a microscope.
What is their importance?
Importance of microorganisms, for example, bacteria. We have what we call nitrogen-fixing bacteria. So this bacteria converts nitrogen that is very useful for the soil. And we have also bacteria that decomposes dead body organisms, and we have also bacteria that is very useful for vaccines and
Thank you.
Kingdom fungi is composed of varied heterotrophic plant-like organisms adapted to their nutrition from living or dead organisms. Over 65,000 species of fungi are found in various environments. They range from macroscopic mildews, bracket fungi, and smuts to mostly microscopic molds and yeast. A fungus has a vegetative filament called a hypha. A mat of interwoven hypha is called a mycelium. In most fungi, hypha are divided into cells by structures called septa. Some fungi, however, have hypha that are not separated by septa. Plants have cell walls with cellulose. Fungi have chitin and cell walls of the other hypha. Chitin is a complex form of a polysaccharide. Plants store food as starch. Fungi store food as glycogen. Characteristics similar to that of many microscopic fungi, like yeast, are beneficial. Yeast are used to make bread rise. They're often used in laboratories for research purposes. They are also used in brewing and fermentation processes. Most mushrooms are edible. They're used in various delicacies. They may be cultured or harvested as they grow in their natural habitats. Penicillium is a fungus that gave us the wonder drug penicillin. Since most bacterial strains eventually became resistant to penicillin, other more effective drugs were introduced. These modern antibiotics incorporate a unique fragment of a prototype penicillin structure to the penicillin molecule that's fatal to the resistant bacteria. Animals may also be infected with different kinds of fungi. Among these infections are Aspergillus, which affects mostly birds, Blastomyces, which is found in dogs, or Cordyceps, which affects ants. Humans may also suffer from effects brought about by fungi. Exposure to severe contamination with molds may cause lung diseases or other ailments related to inhalation of mold spores. Human skin infected or may also bacteria is the common term for most organisms under kingdom Monera. These are believed to be most abundant organisms on Earth. Many believe that bacteria were the first forms of life on Earth, appearing late in Archaeotic period. Long before there were green plants capable of photosynthesis, certain primitive bacteria may have utilized energy from iron, sulfur, and nitrogen compounds instead of the form of the sun. According to geologists, the extensive deposits of iron ore we use today are the results of bacterial action during ancient geologic times. Later, when green plants began building up stores of organic compounds, other kinds of bacteria. Most bacteria are very tiny, far smaller than the individual cells in the body of multicellular plants or animals. Some bacteria are as small as some of the largest viruses, but even the smallest bacteria are fundamentally different from virus in that they are cellular. They always have DNA as genetic material. Pathogenic bacteria are bacteria that cause diseases. They act by releasing toxins, chemical substances that serve as poison in the host body. A toxin may attack the entire nervous system, another may attack the kidneys, still others like Streptococcus cause sore throat. Another way by which bacteria damage the body of the host is through tissue destruction, as in tuberculosis, tuberculae bacilli. A tuberculosis